Those apples are tart. What? Oh. Hello all, welcome to Vampire Yoga. Today, we are counting down the top New York City foods, the greatest New York City foods of all time. There are so many delicious, amazing, wonderful foods to eat in New York City. I lived in New York for a time, many years in fact. It was quite the experience. Now, New York has so many wonderful foods. It's my personal list. Why 7 foods specifically? Why that number? It's the number that I picked. It's the number 7. Now, it would be impossible to make even a top 20 list. New York City has so much great food. People come from all over the world to live in New York City. They bring their delicious foods with them. Asia, Africa, the Middle East, South and Central America, the Caribbean, I could go on and on. Amazing, wonderful foods. This list that I picked these foods because they are specifically associated with New York. They were either created in New York or they have an association with New York more than anywhere else in the world. Now, before we get to the countdown, spoiler, pizza will not be on the list. A travesty, I know. First of all, it would be too hard to recreate New York style pizza here in my mother's kitchen. Yes, I'm using my mother's kitchen. She's got more space than me. What do you want? Second, I kind of have mixed feelings about New York pizza. Now, some of the best pizza I've ever had was from my time living in New York. Also, some of the worst pizza I've ever had. You gotta know where to go. I used to live by the waterfront in Brooklyn. I'd grab a slice and go sit out on this pier that was a couple of blocks from my house. I'd sit there with my slice of pizza and just take in the views of the harbor, the Statue of Liberty, the ferries going by, the downtown skyline. So that's my homage, my personal homage to New York City pizza. Now let's get to the countdown. Here we go. Coming in at number 7 is, drumroll, babka. Babka. That's right. Look at this babka. This is store-bought babka. I didn't make this babka. So early versions of babka were brought over from Eastern Europe by Jewish immigrants to New York City. And by the 1970s, it was a popular Ashkenazi Jewish delicacy. In New York, they make it like this lovely little delicate bread loaf with these beautiful swirls you can see. Now, it comes in traditionally 2 different flavors, chocolate and cinnamon. This is chocolate. It's raining outside. Can you hear it? It's raining in the desert. Now, I have only tried cinnamon babka before. So, this will be my first time having chocolate babka. I'm very excited to try this. If you are familiar with the classic 90s sitcom Seinfeld, as I am, I've seen every episode about 1,000 times. Maybe you know the one where Jerry and Elaine go to a bakery, probably somewhere on the Upper West Side, to pick up a chocolate babka to take to a dinner party they are headed to, only to find out, tragically, that the last chocolate babka was just sold, and they have to resort to buying a cinnamon babka, which Elaine feels is the lesser of the babkas. Let's see if the chocolate babka is truly the superior babka. Let's try it. I've got a nice thick slice here. I toasted it under the broiler, smeared some butter on top. Here we go. Man. I think Elaine was right. Chocolate is the superior babka. I want some more. Really good. Thumbs up. All right, here we go. Coming in at number 6 on the countdown is the old-timey classic, the Waldorf salad. This dish was first created at the famous Waldorf Astoria Hotel in 1896, and it became one of the hotel's signature dishes. Its main ingredients are diced green apples, celery, red grapes, chopped nuts. I used pecans, all mixed in with a lemon mayonnaise dressing. I used candied pecans, so we'll see how it turned out. I've never tried this before, so let's do it. But first, let's see how it's made. All right, here is the finished product. Waldorf salad. Looks pretty good. Looks very fresh, crisp, green. Let's try it. The grapes add sweetness, as do the candied pecans, as I mentioned. And then the celery adds a really beautiful crunch. If you have misophonia, I'm sorry. I like the sound of people chewing. I know they're most likely enjoying themselves. They're having an experience, as I am, with the Waldorf salad. Damn, this is good. Whenever I've thought of a Waldorf salad, I've always had this image in my mind of fancy Upper East Side ladies doing lunch on Madison Avenue, eating a Waldorf salad and a nice martini. I like it. Up next on the countdown, coming in at number 5, that's 10. 5 is the chopped cheese, aka chopped cheese. These sandwiches can be found in bodegas all over the city, but I feel like they're most associated with Upper Manhattan and the Bronx. These are usually cooked fresh on the spot. Go into the bodega, you go up to the deli counter, you ask for a chopped cheese. They'll throw some ground beef on the grill, chop it up with some onions, throw a slice of cheese on there so it's all nice and melty, and then serve it on a roll. They're very good. It's a very insidery New York kind of a dish, probably the most insidery thing. Most people outside of New York haven't heard of it, though it's becoming a little bit more known in popular culture, especially if you watch Desus and Mero. Great show. We miss you. So let's make one. Yikes. That cheese looks so yellow on camera. It looks not real. Okay, so I couldn't find a proper roll that you're supposed to use at the store, but I've got the meat and the cheese all melted together with the onions all chopped up. I've already started eating it. Well, it was so good. There's something about the ground beef being chopped up instead of in a whole patty, all melted with the onions and the cheese together, that just makes it better than a typical hamburger. I can't explain why. It just does. I will never be able to recreate a real bodega chopped cheese. It's just not possible, but this is still pretty damn good. Whew. I don't know about you guys, but I need to wash down some of that greasy goodness with a nice, refreshing cocktail. So coming in at number 4 on the countdown is the Manhattan. The Manhattan, baby! This drink is made with whiskey, I use bourbon, bitters, sweet vermouth, and a maraschino cherry. I use the fancy kind. Let's see. Here we go. Cheers. Woohoo! Strong. Strong but delicious. I love that sweet vermouth. So good. Whiskey is normally not my favorite liquor to drink, but I could do this. This is good. Let's just eat the cherry. Oh my God. Those Luxardo maraschino cherries. Worth the price. All right. Coming in at number 3 on the countdown is a very kosher pastrami on rye, popularized in the 1880s and first created by a man named Sussman Volk at his delicatessen on Delancey Street, and was soon served by all the various Jewish delicatessens all over the city. I'm very full, but let's have a pastrami on rye. I've got a beautiful marble rye. Seinfeld alert. Let's do this. Ugh, that smell just punched me in the fucking face. Horseradish. La-di-da, la-di-da. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-di-da. Dee-dee-dee-dee. You gotta really pile it on. You gotta be generous with the pastrami, to say the least. You gotta really add like an almost disgusting amount of pastrami. Like just a vulgar amount of pastrami meat. Made with love. Look, there's a microphone. I can't hide it anymore. Okay, here we go. Pastrami on rye. Guys, I'm so stuffed. I don't know if I can eat this. Ugh. Okay. I was a vegetarian for 15 years. How did I get here in my life? Okay, here we go. Pastrami on rye. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's actually pretty good. It's fine. What? I'm hungry. I'm starving because number 2 on the countdown, coming in at second place, is the amazing, the iconic New York cheesecake. Yum! I've got cherries on it. Oh. It's so good. It's just so good. So, for most Americans, when you order a cheesecake at a restaurant or you buy it in the store, most of the time, what you are getting is New York style cheesecake. Even if it doesn't specifically say that, it most likely is New York style cheesecake. Cheesecake is not all the same. It is made in different ways around the world. New York cheesecake is known for its richness. It's dense, it's thick. They use cream cheese instead of just cream, which gives it that tangy flavor that's so distinctive to New York cheesecake. It's the best. So modern New York cheesecake is really popularized, and most people associated in New York with this restaurant called Junior's in Brooklyn. They make really good cheesecake. Junior's will sell their cheesecakes in grocery stores around New York, and I used to get these little mini ones, these little round cheesecakes for like $3 or $4, and they're so good. I have to just keep. We're here. We've finally done it. We've made it to number 1 on the countdown. Can you guess what it is? Do you have a guess? What could it be? The bagel! Dun, 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 dun. The bagel! Of course it's the bagel! Mwah. The delicious bagel. Bagels first arrived in New York City in the late 19th century, brought over by Eastern European Jewish immigrants, and eventually spread in popularity all over the US. I wasn't reading. But the bagel will always be the humble soul of New York City cuisine. As much a part of New York City as the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, rats on the subway, the beloved bagel. All right, I've made my beautiful bagel here with some onion and chive, cream cheese, some lox, smoked salmon, fresh dill, and some Persian cucumbers. A deli classic. Okay, here we go. Congratulations, sweet bagel. You made it to number 1. Number 1 on the list. Number 1 in our hearts. So legend has it that it is the water that makes New York bagels and New York pizza dough so good and so special. But that is actually a myth. Sorry to burst y'all's bubble. The water in New York City is really good. The tap water is fresh, it's clean. I used to drink tap water in New York all the time. But what makes New York City bagels so good and so special is actually the technique that involves cold processing, and it's a whole complicated process that you can read about if you want. All that matters really is that it's good, they've got it down, they know how to do it. New York knows how to do it. Thank you so much for joining me on this countdown. It has been a pleasure to walk through the memories and eat some of this great food and drink. And just remember, if you ever visit New York and you're on the sidewalk, just make sure you walk fast. Just move. Just keep moving. Now enjoy this montage of memories from my time in New York. Mwah! See you next time. If you don't believe that I'm filming this in my mother's kitchen, just take a look at this. There's always time for a glass of wine. This may be the wine talking, but I love wine.